Buckle up, because we're diving into one of the most groundbreaking racing games ever to hit the gaming scene, F-Zero. Released in 1990 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, F-Zero wasn't just another racing game. It was a revolution on wheels. Developed by Nintendo and spearheaded by designer Kazunobu Shimizu, this title introduced players to the blistering speed and futuristic vibe that defined the series. It launched alongside the Super Nintendo itself in Japan and North America, making it one of the first games to show off the console's technical prowess, particularly its famed Mode 7 graphics technology. At the time, the racing genre was in an interesting spot. Games like Outrun and Rad Racer had already introduced players to pseudo 3D environments. But F-Zero took that concept and cranked it up to 11. In an era when most racing games felt grounded in the here and now, F-Zero looked to the stars and dared players to keep up. Its release marked the beginning of a beloved franchise and left an indelible mark on gaming history. While F-Zero is primarily remembered as a high-speed racer, its story is a fascinating slice of science fiction that adds layers of intrigue to the game's futuristic vibe. Set in the 26th century, humanity and alien species have expanded across the galaxy, achieving incredible technological advancements. One such breakthrough is the invention of anti-gravity technology, which allows vehicles to hover and travel at incredible speeds. With these innovations came the birth of F-Zero, an intergalactic racing competition designed for the entertainment of the galaxy's wealthiest elites. Unlike many games of its era, F-Zero doesn't feature a traditional campaign mode or in-game cutscenes to flesh out its story. Instead, the narrative is delivered through the game manual and character backgrounds, which were a treasure trove for players who wanted to dive deeper into this futuristic world. At its core, the story revolves around the dangerous allure of the F-Zero Grand Prix, where pilots risk their lives for fame, fortune, and the adrenaline rush of the race. The tracks themselves are perilous, suspended high above cityscapes and alien terrains, with tight curves, speed boosts, and deadly hazards waiting for the slightest mistake. The roster of 4 selectable pilots hints at a larger universe brimming with personality and conflict. The most iconic of them, Captain Falcon, is a bounty hunter as well as a racer, known for his fearless demeanor and mysterious past. His vehicle, the Blue Falcon, became synonymous with the series and a symbol of the franchise's enduring popularity. But what makes the story of F-Zero particularly compelling is its understated nature. It doesn't bombard players with exposition, or try to weave a cinematic epic. Instead, it paints the backdrop of a dangerous sport in a gleaming yet morally ambiguous future, leaving room for players to imagine the details. The sparse storytelling also reflects the ethos of the early 1990s, when gameplay was king, and narratives were often just a side dish. If F-Zero made a name for itself with its cutting-edge visuals and futuristic setting, its gameplay cemented it as one of the most thrilling racers of all time. The gameplay revolves around high-speed, precision-based racing across 15 intense tracks, each more treacherous than the last. At its core, F-Zero emphasizes pure skill. There are no power-ups, weapons, or shortcuts to give you an edge. It's just you, your reflexes, and your ability to master the intricacies of your chosen machine. The game offers 4 hovercraft-style vehicles, each with its own stats for speed, acceleration, and durability. The heart of the gameplay lies in its use of the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 graphics, which simulate 3D environments by scaling and rotating 2D sprites. This gave players an unparalleled sense of speed and immersion for the time, making it feel like the tracks stretched endlessly into the horizon. As you race through twisting circuits suspended over futuristic cities and alien wastelands, the sense of momentum is exhilarating, yet terrifying. One wrong move can send you careening into hazards or even off the track entirely. Each race requires players to navigate sharp turns, boost pads, and jumps, while avoiding hazards like mines, rough terrain, and other racers. F-Zero introduces a unique damage system that keeps tension high. Colliding with walls, hazards, or rival machines depletes your vehicle's energy meter. If it runs out, your craft explodes, ending your race. Energy can be replenished slightly by passing through pit zones, but these are strategically placed, forcing players to decide whether to slow down for repairs or push forward at the risk of destruction. Boosting, a mechanic unlocked after completing the first lap, is a game changer. Activating a boost increases your speed dramatically, but makes controlling your vehicle significantly harder. This trade-off creates a constant push-and-pull dynamic where players must weigh the reward of faster lap times against the increased likelihood of catastrophic failure. Adding to the challenge is F-Zero's ranking system. At the end of each lap, players must maintain a certain position or face disqualification. This escalating requirement forces players to balance aggression with careful planning as they fight for the lead. One key to F-Zero's brilliance is its simplicity. With no multiplayer mode or elaborate mechanics, the game distills racing down to its purest elements. The controls are tight and responsive, making every twist of the track feel fair, even as the game challenges you to your limits. It's the kind of gameplay loop that feels rewarding whether you're shaving milliseconds off your lap time or simply surviving a brutal course. Despite its accessibility, F-Zero is not an easy game. It's a high-stakes experience that punishes mistakes mercilessly, but for those willing to learn its nuances, the satisfaction of mastering a track or taking first place is unparalleled. The sense of speed, danger, and accomplishment is unmatched, and it's no wonder the game has endured as a classic. The presentation of F-Zero was nothing short of revolutionary for its time, showcasing the full power of the Super Nintendo and setting a new benchmark for visual and audio excellence in video games. Visually, F-Zero was a technical marvel in 1990. The Super Nintendo's Mode 7 graphics allowed developers to simulate 3D environments by scaling and rotating 2D backgrounds, creating a pseudo-3D effect. This made F-Zero feel fast and fluid in a way no other racing game at the time could match. Each track is distinct, not only in layout but also in visual design. Mute City dazzles with its neon-lit skyscrapers and sprawling highways, while Deathwind's desolate, stormy environment lives up to its name with howling winds and eerie emptiness. Big Blue feels like a paradise of endless seas, with a vibrant color palette of blues and greens, while Firefield scorches the screen with intense reds and molten landscapes. However, the presentation wasn't without its limitations. While Mode 7 was groundbreaking, it also had its drawbacks, particularly when it came to the lack of verticality. Tracks were entirely flat, with jumps and drops simulated visually rather than physically. This limitation didn't detract much from the gameplay, but it became more apparent as later games in the series introduced true 3D environments. The vehicle designs also contribute to the game's futuristic feel. Each hovercraft has a sleek, distinctive look that matches its pilot's personality, from the sharp edges of the Blue Falcon to the rounded, industrial vibe of the Wild Goose. These machines ooze character despite their minimalist designs. But F-Zero's graphics are only half of its sensory appeal. The game's soundtrack is a legendary piece of gaming history. Composed by Yumiko Kanki and Naoto Ishida, the music captures the thrill and intensity of the races while infusing each track with its own unique vibe. The adrenaline-pumping theme of Mute City, with its driving beats and high-energy melody, became an instant classic and remains one of the most recognizable pieces of music in gaming. Big Blue's upbeat and adventurous tune perfectly complements its aquatic setting, while Firefield's chaotic, tension-filled track matches its fiery, hazardous environment. Each song is a masterpiece of chiptune composition, driving the action forward while lodging itself firmly in your memory. Sound effects are equally impactful, from the hum of your hovercraft engine to the sharp buzz of energy beams and the dramatic explosions when you collide with a hazard. These audio cues not only enhance the immersion but also provide important gameplay feedback, helping players react to the chaos around them. F-Zero's release in 1990 didn't just usher in a new era for racing games, it set a high-speed benchmark that still influences the genre today. Its blend of cutting-edge graphics, pulse-pounding gameplay, and a futuristic setting made it a standout title for the Super Nintendo and a foundational piece of Nintendo's legacy. The pseudo-3D racing environments blew players away, helping the Super Nintendo stand out in the competitive, early 90s console market. Mode 7 would go on to power other classics like Super Mario Kart, but F-Zero was the first to truly show its potential. Its success proved that the Super Nintendo was capable of delivering fast, smooth, and visually stunning gameplay experiences, laying the groundwork for the console's dominance during that era. The game's influence extended beyond its technical achievements. F-Zero brought a new level of intensity and challenge to the racing genre, paving the way for more skill-based, high-speed racing games. Titles like Wipeout, Extreme G, and even later iterations of Mario Kart owe a debt to the way F-Zero combined futuristic aesthetics with tight, precision-driven gameplay. F-Zero also introduced the gaming world to Captain Falcon, one of Nintendo's most enduring characters. Although he was little more than a name and a face in the original game, Captain Falcon gained a massive following, thanks to his appearances in the Super Smash Bros. Series. The Blue Falcon, his iconic hovercraft, has become a symbol of the F-Zero franchise and continues to appear in other Nintendo titles, ensuring the series remains a part of Nintendo's broader ecosystem even when it's not getting new entries. Despite its initial success, F-Zero as a franchise has had a somewhat bumpy ride. Sequels like F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64 and F-Zero GX on the GameCube expanded on the original's formula, introducing 3D graphics, multiplayer modes, and deeper lore. F-Zero GX, in particular, is often hailed as one of the greatest racing games of all time, blending blistering speed with stunning visuals and a steep learning curve. Yet, after the Game Boy Advance's F-Zero Climax in 2004, the series largely disappeared, leaving fans clamoring for a revival. The absence of a new F-Zero title has only amplified the original game's legendary status. Fans continue to revisit the Super Nintendo classic through re-releases on platforms like the Wii and Switch, where its timeless gameplay and iconic visuals still hold up. The legacy of F-Zero isn't just about its impact on racing games, it's about how it captured the imagination of players with its bold vision of the future. The series inspired a generation of gamers and developers to think about what games could be, blending artistry, technology, and gameplay into an unforgettable package. Even decades later, F-Zero remains a shining example of what happens when a game pushes boundaries and dares to be different. That said, the absence of a new F-Zero game in recent years has left a bittersweet note for fans. It's a reminder of how far the series pushed the envelope and a testament to how much the gaming world misses its unique blend of speed, style, and challenge.